The Dark Realm is a difficult place to live. Plants grow weakly and twisted in the lack of sunlight. Mercenary work and banditry are rife, as it pays more than basic farming or hunting. The realm at large is ruled over from the great city of Guardia, an overpopulated, sinful place ruled over by a baleful king that we haven't seen in years. There is an elven kingdom to the south, ruled by the sequestered shadow elves, a dwarven kingdom lost to the mountains of the west, and a tiefling kingdom among the volcanic rock of the islands in the north. Great patches of our land are poisoned and deserted. There are tribal villages, beasts, goblins, and orc warbands, of course, but we're trapped here. The mists are a mystery. Most who enter them never return. Those that do are changed in such a way that they are unrecognizable or utterly insane. Nothing comes out of the mist, but it surrounds us, calls out, poisons, frightens. Couple that with the almost endless darkness, and the Dark Realm is a very difficult place to live.
It has been one day of travel, and you all arrive at the second largest city in the realm. This sprawling city known as Gerfreda. So that you guys are aware, this place is technically still under the rule of Guardia and the kind of central realm here, which is not quite the same as the tieflings and the elves and the dwarves. But this place isn't too dissimilar to those other places. It's kind of reliant on Guardia, and it has its own council that have their own kind of independence. Basically, people kind of treat it like a city-state. There's also a bunch of weird rumblings of some form of civil war that Gerfreda is kind of pulling away from the way that the rest of the realm is ruled from the kingdom. In the center, this place is kind of more socialist and cultured, essentially. You guys traveled along after you rested in that tower and followed the river towards the ocean, and then along a cliffside down to the eastern edge of the realm, where you start to see these enormous walls, huge stone walls with peaks and little watchtowers along them. In the distance during the day light, you can see the peaks of the center parts of the town. There is a huge kind of set of buildings that are pretty insane, I think, if you've never been to a big city like this, or maybe Guardia itself, the capital. Fairness, Timarosa, the tiefling capital, has some pretty good buildings, but most of the little towns are these little scraggly places with basic little packed earth walls or palisade walls made of wood, with these kind of ramshackle buildings. This place has some incredibly well masoned architecture in the center, a huge set of council halls, ruled over by all of the Gerfredian natives here. This place is pretty massive, and you can see it from the distance overlooking the eastern shore. They also have an enormous set of docks with ships coming and going, mostly fishing vessels, but they do kind of travel up and down, up to Som's Point where you were before, down along the coast towards Gauze Point and Perio Port, and then down to where the elves are at Elaine. But what you guys probably see here, approaching midday, sun high up in the sky as well. You've still had plenty of hours of daylight, and I would imagine a relatively straightforward trek during the day. is this enormous wall. And you actually end up following the wall for a little while here. There is a single central gate. While there are other areas where there are gates, they don't open unless there is some sort of like military need for it. So you follow this enormous wall, walking past it, maybe a couple of traders nearby, maybe a few wagons, and you might even notice some of the Gerfredan army and watch. They have their own military here. They're known as the Lawn, which is kind of they're technically just a very powerful town watch and roaming militia. But they stand as their own kind of military force. They act and dress differently to the Guardian forces that Will was a part of and that you've seen at Kira. They have their own garb. A lot of them are trained in shield and spear, where Will has the round shield. A lot of these guys have tower shields, these square shields, and where most of the Guardians are trained in spear, they usually carry a longsword, and these guys have these long metallic spears that they hold, and you will see them, groups of them moving around with the emblem and the colors of Gerfreda on it, gold and green, with this white stag crest of Gerfreda. Kind of new stuff as well, I think. If anybody knows their history amongst you, it's up to you if you want to know the common knowledge that for a long time they kind of had very similar stuff to Guardia, but have over the last few hundred years kind of adopted their own bits and pieces. Let's get a couple of rolls from you all. I would like, let's see here, there's going to be a few actually. Everyone give me a perception check first. And then I want Merlin to give me an Arcana check and Will to give me a Constitution saving throw.
Here we go.
So it begins. Here we go.
19 on the con save. A strange feeling washes over you, Will, as you get closer and closer to this place. Whatever it is, seems to be a kind of... you know what, actually, you can roll me a d20. I guess would be the best thing to do here. 19. You actually get the sense, as you get closer and closer to Gerfreda, you realize that you're actually starting to feel just sort of an opposing force to you, almost like that magnet repellent feeling again. It almost feels unintuitive to move this way, to move in this direction, and you get the sense that ever since being in those mines at Dandelo, the closer you move to the mist, the more your body almost wants to reject it. It's not actually Gerfreda, it's your proximity to the mist. It's starting to make you feel physically uncomfortable, but nothing that will affect anything that you're doing at all on a 19 con save. And you're also, I think, aware of it. Or however you want to be aware of it is up to you. Merlin, there is a sense of magic coming off of these walls as well. The Gerfredan city walls seem to have areas of enchantment on them. Whatever it might be, you're not too sure, but every now and then your eyes, maybe your gnomish eyes or your arcane senses, pick up on glyphs along the wall that shimmer in certain catches of the daylight here, and you get the sense that there might be some sort of enchantment on the walls themselves, presumably something that strengthens them or warns of attacks, perhaps, things like that. But the walls are very impressively masoned, but then on top of it, there is a sense of magic and arcane to this city. Will, how long has it been since you were last here? Do you know? Roughly?
Probably just under a year.
Right, not too long ago. So for you, this doesn't look any different at all. This place has not changed whatsoever. The gates ahead of you. Walking along these walls, you finally get to an area where there is just an enormous set of double breasted gates here, where one side is down, the other side is open, and you could fit maybe 4 carriages through one of them, and if they lifted both of them, you could get like 8 carriages side by side through these gates. It's insanely large, and manned by a force of maybe about 30 of these guards. There are 2 towers on either side of them. You get the sense that there are probably archers or crossbowmen in the towers, and along the balustrades at the top of the walls you see a decent amount of guards as well. But the traffic here isn't too crazy. For the most part, this isn't like the comings and goings of too many other towns here. A lot of Gerfreda is kind of self-contained on the inside and relies almost exclusively on trade. There are definitely farms and things on the outskirts here, and a lot of the food is provided through fish. But there are farms inside the walls and little areas that they grow their own produce in. Gerfreda could probably last in a siege as well, based on that. And they... so there's not really a lot of comings and goings. You can see mostly traders coming in to the town. It means that you can basically strut all the way up to the main gates. But how does everyone look? Let me think about this a second. If you guys have been on the road for a few days and you are not clean and you're a little battered and you've probably got some scratches and rips, some mud, some blood. Merlin is quite literally a ghoul walking along in the daylight. So it looks like you can just strut in and out of this place, by the way. It doesn't seem like anyone is going to stop you unless I roll particularly low on the dice that I definitely have. Where is my dice? Uh-oh. You're going to have to use one of my unlucky dice. Here we go.
Here we go.
Here's what happens, I think, for you guys. You guys start walking up towards the gates. There are 3 guardsmen standing around. One of them glances over at you and then turns back to the other guard and just says, "Yeah, I don't know, mate. Probably not even going to bother, really. Yeah, I don't really like it, even." And they just carry on their conversation. If you just want to strut into the city of Gerfreda, none of these guards seem to even be aware of you. They're all standing around, relaxed.
Yeah, I'm gonna go right in while they're busy. I don't want them to really notice me.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think not drawing attention at this moment is the best plan.
Okay. Fire, give me a perception check.
Okay, I would also like to be holding Merlin's hand. 10.
Okay. You are in Gerfreda. Welcome to another Brian Martial Arts creation of the absolutely enormous
That's awesome.
city of Gerfreda itself. And you find yourselves, now this map is upside down, right? So you've got, you're coming in on this side, with this being the east, okay? That's the south, that's the east. And yeah, again, you kind of wander into this enormous city. At the entranceway where all these gates are, you see just a huge amount of houses and things. There is a kind of a military post and access that seems to let them up onto the walls and into those towers. But once you kind of clear the initial area and square here, you find yourself in what looks like just any residential district anywhere else. Twisted houses, packed in together, and people coming and going. It's huge, and I think it would be overwhelming for 3 of you, since Will has been here before. If you weren't aware of where you were going, you'd probably already be lost. There's no real indication of like where to go. There are signposts that point in all sorts of different directions, but it mentions all these different sectors: noble residential, council halls, docks, markets, and varying kind of religious establishments to the goddess Aersa, for example. There's a little temple here. Will, however, is the one who has brought you here, and guess what is the plan now that you're inside these walls and there is just an enormous expanse of this self-contained city in front of you? What are you guys doing? And presumably Will be leading the way because he probably somewhat knows his way around. And I don't know if you've been to a big city before. It certainly helps to have been there before, but even Will was probably a little like, was it that way or that way? But I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that you kind of know what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Will's checklist basically is go talk to Vega Greenwood, and that's basically like 90% of why we're here, but it's also one of the biggest cities in the entire realm, so if there's any last minute shopping or preparation to do anything we're looking for, this is probably the place to find it. So I don't know if anybody else has anything on their checklist that they want to get done while we're here.
I was considering looking for a bow. Fire is just like looking around, like trying to seem fine, but also like very lost, and like I don't even know where I would begin to try and find a place to look for a bow.
Yeah, I think Fix is probably looking around as well, like kind of trying not to give away too much that they're new to the city, but kind of just a little bit overwhelmed by everything.
Ooh, can I spot any silence around?
On a 10, no, you cannot.
Can I maybe?
Yeah, exactly.
I got a 21. Can I?
No, you did that. Your perception checks earlier on were not for that. Fire gets to have a special check for silence.
What about my passive perception, which is 13?
The passive perception, they're immune to passive perception. Fire. Of course they are. What are you talking about? They're immune to these three, even looking for them. You only qualify under certain understandings of how they were trained naturally, and maybe what to look for, and the innate abilities of your elven blood. It doesn't seem like there is any silence here, but also could be anyone. There are lots of people here moving up and down. You're probably moving along, and there are people doing that big city thing of like just kind of like brushing into you because it's kind of so packed in, and there are lots of winding little alleyways. There does seem to be a very exclusive and large central road that is a paved area, kind of lots of open areas, but in this opening section of the city there is it's just a packed in residential area, and most of the houses are built on top of each other as well, so you get these like multi-layered buildings that are kind of leaning over you, very very tall looking buildings. So it's difficult to get really a lay of the land, even because you're kind of so crushed in, and these roads are not very straight. They're twisting and turning. Apart from, I think, the center of town where there's just this enormous set of Gothic architecture that's looming over everything else. It's really, you just get no sense of where you are or where to even go. And what you've already done a walk along half of the city's walls, so you know that it goes pretty far. So Will would know. I can't imagine that Vega Greenwood would not have met with you while you were working. You might have come here before with Lyra, but I have no doubt that you would have spent time with him at his private residence. So you probably know the way there, but it's midday, and he is a very prolific businessman, so it's unlikely he's at those residences. The residences are in the very the noble residences are in the noble housing sector inside the internally walled area, which is south of town, which is kind of all the way over here, and down in this area, you guys being literally off the map here over here. I think you could probably spend a while getting your bearings and head that direction if you want. Alternatively, you know that he owns businesses down by the dock sides here, or you would be pretty convinced that if he was going to be anywhere, it would be inside these council halls. Inside the council halls, you would have been told, though I doubt you would have ever visited them, that there are areas for the merchants and the the nobles to run their business. If you were to guess where he would be, it would be there at this time of day. That would be the direct route to him. Everything else, there are taverns all over town, you would know just from being here. There's everything here, kinda. Like, if you're looking for a weaponsmith, there's one here. If you're looking for an armorer, there's like 40, you know what I mean? Like, there's traders, there are market stalls, there are probably black markets, there are probably people that you can buy some things from off the street. There are people who you can buy things from in shops. There are markets. There's the dockside market, which is the biggest set of markets. Whatever you are looking for in general, probably you can find it, but being specific about where it is, you're going to have to wander around and look for it. So it really does come down to like what you want to do first, the order in which you want to do it. Where's Will going? You know, is fire running off? Is Merlin eating someone? You know what? Smells great here.
Yes,
Hopefully
all of the above.
Oh, does it
Hopefully,
smell
yeah, all of the
great?
above. Hopefully Merlin's found somebody delicious. Well, I think rather than run all over town looking for this guy, I'd probably just head to his residence and ask, like, what time I should come back. Like, you know, when can I catch him?
Okay.
Or set an appointment, that sort of thing.
So Will starts heading south. Everyone's following, I assume, with the intention of immediately following this place. Will, roll me an investigation check, I guess. This would be an intelligence-based thing, maybe.
My strong suit. Here we go.
Memory.
5.
Ooh. You start to get very quickly overwhelmed and confused and lost. You're remembering that you went this way, right? Wait, no, you went that way. Why did you let Lyra lead you through the town? Oh, that's where I used to do this, she would say to you, holding your hand. Oh, this is this over here. Will getting distracted by a suit of armor and remembering his militant days while she then drags him down another alleyway to... This is a shortcut. So Will, you try to recreate that. Even though you might have made this trip a few times, it's still just a ridiculously overwhelming city. And eventually you find yourself just kind of a little bit lost. You certainly have not found the noble housing sector. But let's see. Anything happens to you on your travels here. Roll me a d20, please, Will.
Oh boy. A 19. Lots
A
of those today.
19. You do actually find something, which is pretty crazy. Roll me a d5.
5 out of 5.
You find stuff. You literally just stumble at. You're walking along and you kick something, and when you look down, you see a small little box, the type of thing that would fit, like a jewelry, little wooden thing. As you pick it up and flick it open, roll me a d4. Damn.
3.
You find 3 golden rings.
Oh.
That would have been so funny if that was 3 golden yo-yos.
Gold-plated yo-yos.
Significantly better than 3 yo-yos, but also golden rings probably belong to someone. So, well, so do yo-yos, but I doubt anyone would care that much.
You don't know, okay? Could be
Yeah,
very
I'll
concerned.
probably just pick up the box and then just look around suspiciously like, is this a trap or a test or who left this here?
Hey, give me another investigation check.
A 4.
It doesn't look like a trap. There doesn't seem to be anyone here. You're in a strange part of town. It's a little run down. You get the sense that maybe this is an area of town that will be a little lower income. 3 golden rings just in a box in a ditch on the side of the road here is kind of strange, but it looks just discarded. Perhaps somebody dropped it. Maybe it fell off the back of a wagon. At this point, doesn't seem like this is a trap. You're like looking up, checking the rooftops and things. There's nobody kind of spying you. The rings themselves don't seem to be magical or anything like that. Just 3 golden rings in a box. Lucky find, maybe?
Just probably turn to the rest of the group and say, you know, I know we're heading towards the rich part of town, but I didn't think they were so rich they just, you know, toss this stuff out and leave it laying around.
Finders keepers.
Yeah, take it as a gift.
Maybe they didn't fit anymore.
I imagine their closet overflowing with their other hundreds of gold rings. There just wasn't any space.
That or they're just out of fashion, out of season, you know. It's not the fad right now.
Yeah.
Silver's totally in these days.
Mm-hmm.
Does the box itself have any marking, insignia, the name of an establishment, anything? Or is it just a plain box?
This is a plain looking box. A very simple looking carved wooden box. No paper on the inside wrapped up that says what it is. No markings or seal on the top. It looks as well like they were loose in here. So it's the type of thing that maybe somebody would put them in. This could just be someone's jewelry box that they keep on them.
Is there any sense of magic from the rings or the box?
No, but Merlin, if you want to give me an Arcana check, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. That's the wizard.
23.
23. These are normal rings, 100%.
Rats.
Hey Merlin, are these rings magic?
Oh, I'm tempted to say so, but I'll be truthful this time around. No, they're just plain old gold rings.
Okay.
Finders keepers, I guess.
You can sell them if you want.
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know. I can't help but figure someone's gonna come looking for them and retracing their steps here, but
Yeah,
Put it in your pocket.
no.
leaving them here doesn't seem smart either. Someone else might just pick them up and walk off.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't take them, someone else will.
Yeah. You're doing the right thing, keeping them safe in case the owner
Fire.
returns. Yeah.
Fire.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just put the box in my pocket.
Okay.
Yeah, you're also lost, by the way, Will. You don't know where you're going.
So where are we going, Will?
That way.
Okay.
Like, point a few different directions at once. That way. I'll be honest, I probably need to ask directions. I've been here a couple of times, but it's still a tad confusing. That and I was never actually the one leading the way. I'll look around for street signs or whatever and see if there's anybody knowledgeable, particularly like guardsmen or whatever that I could ask. Lead or point us in the right direction.
Everything is... There's no guards here. No street signs here. There's a man.
Who designed this place?
There's a man staring at you. You're like deep in like a residential place. You get the sense that that this is just a bunch of people that have lived their whole lives. They don't need signs. There's no
We're in a
reason for
cul-de-sac.
tourists to be there. Yeah, it's that kind of a feeling. You're like lost in this twisting, turning residential part of town. There is a man staring at the four of you, just looking at you all, holding a sack over his shoulder.
I'll just walk right up to him and ask him.
is staring at you. This enormous dude with armor, weapons, followed by a tiefling in armor and gauntlets, and a shadow elf, and then a child walk over to him, and from his perspective, and he looks you up and down and says, "All right, what are you doing down here then?"
Truth be told, I'm looking for the... What'd you say it was called, Brad? The noble housing sector? Was that what it was?
Yes.
I'm looking for noble housing, but I'm pretty sure I took a wrong turn. Could you point me the right way?
Yeah. You make it worth my while. I'll take you there myself.
Could have pointed us in. Maybe we got lost in a good
Right,
place.
well, it's that way. Or maybe it's that way. Yeah, sometimes my memory's not that great. Having to haul around these apples all day. Pulls the
Just-
sack
Oh,
off his back.
apples.
Just take us there.
Apples? What kind of apples are you carrying?
What do you mean, what kind of apples?
What kind of apples?
There are different kinds of apples, are there?
Yeah.
Apples.
Well,
What you eat in your mouth. You eat.
Oh, yeah, those kind.
You want one?
No. Thought maybe you had
Are they
something
red or
cool
green?
and apples was like a cover.
Or do you like red apples or do you like green apples?
Well, there's two kinds right there.
There.
Yeah.
Right. There, you get apples that are red and green and all.
Red?
You can get both on the same apple. You know that.
Wow, thank you.
Not an apple expert.
Can I insight check this guy? Is he really just like an apple salesman and I'm like reading into it?
Give me an inside check if you want.
He's just a he's a burglar in the back. Is all the
I don't
stuff
know.
he stole.
Yeah, I'm like,
He's for sure not an apple salesman.
okay. Let me see. Like, can I pick my own apple? Let me see.
He opens the sack up. Inside there are green apples. Lots of them.
No red.
No. You want one?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not exactly looking for what you have here.
Apple's an apple.
At this point, I'm suspicious. Can I insight check both of them? Like I think she's speaking code to him, and that they're both thieves at this point. I want to
word
insight
apple.
check both of them. This sounds like some thieves' can't stuff
It
going
does.
on right now to me.
It really,
Really
does.
does.
Do you want the green apple or maybe the red and green on the same apple?
At this point,
Yeah.
I'm convinced that she's asking him for like directions to the black market to go pawn some stolen goods.
He's staring at you, Fire. What's it gonna be?
Can I just say, do you have any red apples? But I want to say it in Thieves' Cant.
Right. He looks left and right and says, back to you in Thieves' Cant, I got purple dust.
Explain that to me.
Well, that's all I got right now.
What is it?
What?
What is it?
What do you mean? What is it? Do you actually want apples? You don't actually want apples, right?
No, I don't. God damn. These are my friends. They're cool. Just drop it.
Yeah, right. So I've only got purple dust on me right now.
Yeah, what is purple dust?
What do you mean, what is purple dust? How do you not know what it is? What are you here for?
Do we know what purple dust is?
You don't know what they're saying. They're speaking in just a gibberish right now.
You just hear apple, yellow apple, green apple, red apple.
Yeah.
It was a code the whole time. Remind me, I'm not a...
Right, well, you want to wake up, don't you? Sometimes you want to wake up, you want to go, go, go.
Well, yeah, sometimes.
Purple dust.
How long does it last? And how much does it cost?
Hour. Well, how much do you want? Little dib dab? Lot of
Yeah,
it?
just a
Bag?
little...
You're selling?
No, I'm not selling.
Little dib dab for 4 of you?
Yeah,
Here, we call it 5 gold.
5 gold for a little bit.
For 4 of you,
that's
aye.
How about you give me enough for 2 of us? Or 2 each. 2 little bits each for all of us.
2 little
So
bits
8.
each for all of you.
8.
All right, 10 gold.
8 little bits. No, how about you give me that for 5?
You mad?
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to get a hold of purple dust.
Not that hard if you have bags and bags of it.
I don't have bags and bags of it. I got little bits of it.
Why did you
How
ask me if
about,
I wanted a bag to sell?
Well, right. What I'll do for you then. I'll go and see my friend Ibble Kibble. How about that?
What?
How about
Say
that?
that again.
I'll go and
Say
see
that
my
name
friend
again.
Ibble Kibble.
Ibble Kibble?
That's right.
I want to see your friend Ibble Kibble.
Give me a persuasion check. He for the first time crosses his arms and kind of looks at you all suspiciously. What are you really doing here then? He says out of thieves' cant.
Are we still talking about apples?
We weren't, but it's. Can I just here? Can I have how about this? And I'll give him. I'll just. I have 3 gold, 8 silver, and 1 copper. Can I just hand him that? Will this
Right.
do? Can you cut me a little deal?
I'll get you a
That's
little
all
bit.
I have.
How about that?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You hold on. And he puts his hand deep into the sack of apples, rummaging around. Eventually, he pulls out a tiny little what looks, I guess, to you guys as kind of a purple gem. A tiny little thing, like a few millimeters across. He looks it up and rolls it into his hand, and then hands you an apple with the gem underneath it in the palm of his hand, looking around him.
I'll
up
just
and down.
hand the apple to whoever is next to me and put the stuff in my pocket.
Yeah, you've got some purple dust.
Yay!
All right, nice doing business with you. the
Yeah, we
apple
actually
sack
need
on his back.
directions also, if you don't
Oh,
mind.
you actually do need them.
No, I
Yeah.
wasn't kidding. Which way is the noble housing?
Right, well, you know they got good shit up there.
Like what?
Good purple dust. That way.
Ooh.
You follow that down there, you'll see a wheel. You pass the wheel, straight along, you'll see the walls. Follow the walls to the middle. Gate.
Did he just say purple dust?
That's not loiter.
Yeah.
You don't want him to catch you with that. He turns around and heads into his alleyway.
Fire, what the hell did you just buy?
I don't know. It's a drug of some kind. I did a drug deal. What of it?
Just like
So
look
you
around
were
the
speaking in
street.
code. I knew
Yes.
it.
Well, it was very confusing. We weren't at the start, and then it quickly became code, and he's a drug dealer.
See, I'm getting better at this. I'll be all ready for the criminal underworld in no time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll want a closer look at that later.
Absolutely. I got enough for all of us to try some if you want. He said it'll wake you up and get you going. So,
Okay. Might be useful.
mm-hmm.
Might be catastrophic.
Yeah. Maybe both.
Well, if we get desperate, we'll have a backup option.
Mm-hmm. I should have asked him where to buy a bow.
I'm sure there'll be more apple dealers up in the noble sector. You could ask them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Do
Well, you heard
know-
him.
Could- Or we
You
could
heard
just
where we
head
go?
down into the mercantile district and look around. There's probably about 30 Fletchers in town.
Okay. If you want to do that, then we can do that.
Do you want to do
you,
that now or after?
Well, let me start by making an appointment because Vega can be notoriously hard to get a hold of. He's kind of a busy guy. So we'll set an appointment, and then depending on how far out that time slot is, we can go kill time in town.
Okay.
Please don't tell me Time's another one of those bandits.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry. I just said you need to kill Time.
Aha!
Got my
I
mind
see
going
what
for
you
a
did
moment.
there.
Yeah. It was a joke. Good joke.
Okay. Let's find this noble sector.
So you can, following your apple dealer's instructions, you follow the
wheel, follow the walls to the middle.
road down.
I got over here.
You come to a small mill, and it has a kind of a wheel on the side of it that a small canal is running along, kind of splitting this residential area with a wall that runs along the south edge of town. And you can see beyond this wall. This isn't a wall like the enormous things on the outside of town. This really is to very clearly split the sections of the town, maybe to keep unwanted types out. It curls at the top. There are gargoyles along parts of it as well. But it doesn't seem like the most difficult wall to scale in the world or anything like that. It really is just a pretty basic looking simple wall that's running along the south side of the town here. Following the wall along and then crossing over the canal, you can see that there are multiple entrances into this southern sector that you would assume to be the noble housing sector, as the houses inside and estates are very nice looking, even from here. Individually architectured pieces, strangely engineered houses, and decent kind of portions of land around them for small gardens and things like that. Although at the gated section here, there is just over the canal 2 guards that are standing in front of you. One elven guard and one a much older looking human. The human guard is kind of leaning against the gate itself, and while the gate is open, the elf is standing in front of it, and he holds a hand up to you as you approach, and he says, "Hello, what business do you have?"
Hello.
Hello. Come to visit Vega Greenwood, or at least see if he's at home.
Right. One moment, please. He steps behind him into a little wooden shack. Takes a moment. The older-looking guard is kind of eyeing you up and down, each of you, because you look interesting and individual compared to some of the people in the town. A moment later, the elf steps out and says, "Do you have a writ of lodging, or are you expected?"
I've got neither.
Right. And you're here to see Mr. Greenwood?
That's correct.
Are you family? Are you under listed family members?
Not yet.
Not yet.
His daughter and I are an item.
Okay. Let me see what I've got here. You see him kind of start to pore through this ledger. He moves over a few pages, running his hand down some of the names. You see his hand scan over a couple of names before he says, "And the name of Mr. Greenwood's daughter?"
Lyra Greenwood.
And that would make you...
That would make me Will Ortis of Guardia.
Yes, unfortunately your name is not written down on my ledger as a family member or notable companion. Perhaps you have a writ of lodging or some other way to prove that you know Mr. Greenwood that I could take to the estate. Otherwise I can't let you through, I'm afraid.
In writing, no. And if you tell him Will is here, that would do the trick.
Well, I can send a runner up when one comes by. Otherwise you'll have to wait.
How
I'm
long?
fine with waiting.
How long?
Mm-hmm.
Well, until we get word back that you are who you say you are and that you're allowed in.
Well, I can more or less prove I am who I say I am. I don't know if that'll be enough to satisfy your curiosity, but I'll hand him the letter of guild membership that basically lists my accomplishments as a member of the Masons Guild, etc. Have my name and signature. It would be... I don't know how much credibility it would have here, given that it was issued by the dwarves, but it would have my name and a stamp on it and all that.
Yeah. Did you got this in
I effectively use it like a passport when traveling into the dwarven territory. I don't know how
Yeah.
willing they would be to accept it here, but it's better than nothing.
Well,
The
this
actual
fellow would
item
look it over for sure. And
It's actually an in-game item if you want the you want the description of it. I don't know if that matters here.
no, I know what it is. I know that you have this, and I remember when we planned it. The guy looks it over and says, "Well, that might get you an order of business in town, but I'm afraid unless you're trying to visit one of these dwarven gentlemen, of which I don't recognize the names, you're out of luck. You could possibly visit the dwarven embassy, or perhaps if you know of any
Right. I'm
merchant guild."
I'm not here to talk to them though. I just need to see Vega at his earliest convenience, which I understand can take a while because he's busy. When should I come back?
Well, without a writ, without word from the runner, I'm afraid I have absolutely no idea. I don't know if he would be home. I don't know if he's currently here. He could be down at the council halls. He might be out elsewhere. He could be out of town. I don't really keep track of every single person that lives here, and I'm afraid I can't really hand out that information either.
Where are the council halls?
He points behind you at the just enormous set of buildings. He says, in the center there, that's the palatial area, but to the south of that, all the way down and around, furthest east set of buildings, those are the council halls. That's where most of the guild members and people like Mr. Greenwood work daily, and unfortunately for you, sometimes overnight. I should also warn you that he might not be coming through these gates. He could come through those gates, or the gates all the way over there, or most likely all the way at the south. If you were hoping to catch
Right.
him, of course. Other than that, you might be able to find a runner to send a note or a letter to contact him, or perhaps head down towards the dockside, towards where he runs his business.
Now that we're here, like at the entrance, would I have my bearings again to be able to know where his house is, or where his manor is, or whatever?
Yeah, probably. He's got a residence kind of on the furthest south side of this, quite near to where the south side wall is. Over on this map, it would be kind of down in here. You guys are like over here, kind of. He would be all the way in here on the southeasternmost side, in the center. He's got a pretty basic looking estate with a small garden that runs around the sides, and then like a central tower. It almost looks like a clock house kind of building, with 2 floors, 2 wings to it, and then a central area with what you would remember to be an enormous dining room in it. And then they probably found you your own room that you probably had, with a big plush bed. He's insanely rich.
Right. I'm contemplating. Could I just tell Fire to like go a couple hundred feet away and just climb over the wall and check? Would I be able to give her directions to said house? But at the same time, sneaking in this area is probably not wise.
I was gonna lean into Will and just say, do you think it would be helpful if we enlightened this person a bit on the urgency of our
You think
mission?
you care?
I think you might be able to put it in words that would make him care, but where would we find a runner?
Can I smell the brains of a runner?
You smell the brains of everyone. Runners are, for the most part, a runner is just anyone that you want to pay and trust enough to deliver you a message. But runners that can go in and out of this sector probably are. This is probably a thing. I don't even know, Will, if you would know what this is. I don't know why you would have needed to know this information previously with Lyra on your arm, but you would imagine that this is the type of thing where there are probably a few serving children who can earn a few coins who are kind of sanctioned in some way to be allowed to take messages in and out of this part of the town, but yeah, I don't know if you know, really. I don't know why you would know necessarily how that works, just generally. It doesn't look like there's any here. It's literally just you guys and these two guards. There's there's a lot of people behind you in the residential area that you came through, and inside of here it doesn't look like there's anyone. You're not seeing there's not like a bunch of people on the inside of these gates moving back and forth. I don't think you probably would have seen anyone yet. It looks pretty empty.
Right. No, I probably wouldn't have any inside knowledge on the topic. I would probably just look back to the guard at that point and say, where can I grab one of these runners to go contact him? It's a matter of great urgency.
Well, the runners usually move up and down the wall here. We're the ones who tend to pass the messages on to them. If you have a message, I'm absolutely happy to do it, and it is free of charge.
Can we pay for it to be very urgent?
Urgency. The runner will take it directly. But there just isn't one here, so she'll have to wait for one to come up. You can pay for runners to take them almost anywhere in the city if you'd rather contact Mr. Greenwood or a member of his party directly.
I think there's probably the rest of the party would see like a very obvious moment of hesitation where I contemplated telling them one thing and then just stopped instead and say, the message should just be that Will is here to see him with a matter of utmost importance.
Right. Very well. Yes, you see him write this down. And that's for Mr. Vega Greenwood. Yes, very well. There are runners' posts in town. If you'd want to head further towards the center of town there, you might be able to find another runner if you need to pay for messages to be moved around town very quickly. Other than that, I shall pass on your message as soon as possible.
Well, if going to one of these runners' posts will speed the process up, then yes, I'll go do that. What would they look like? How would I spot one?
Well, it's very much like a carriage stop. If you head straight over the canal here and back down the way that I believe you came from, but instead of following away from the canal, run alongside it, you'll see that you'll find a small marketplace. There should be a runner's post on the edge. A post with a symbol of the stag of Gerfreda on it, and a little sigil, like an envelope. You'll find a boy or a girl there, then, depending on who you're trying to contact, and, well, I would imagine that Mr. Greenwood's a very difficult one, so you're probably going to be paying a silver piece, something like that.
Right, thank you for your time.
Very well. And good day. Sorry I couldn't help you any further.
Not a problem.
Okay, I suggest maybe we go find a runner and then check the council halls.
Yes, let's do that. Speed this up.
Okay. Now, following his instructions, I assume,
Yes.
you will head down there. Now I'm going to roll 2 dice. And I'm not going to tell you what they were for.
Yay!
So, yeah, you guys following the canal, kind of take the route that you came up, one of these roads, and then see that another small bridge leads over a little hop of canal, a tiny little thing, really not a canal, more like a little dribble, and you move to an area that seems to be a little more busy, a little more bustling, and you come to a small little marketed area. It seems like the type of market where they sell only basic bread and meat and general produce for the local town, not anything like the huge markets that might sell your bows and arrows and things like that. But it's pretty obvious that you can pick out this runner's post, and there is a boy sitting there. He's got to be maybe 9 or 10, in very basic looking clothes with enormous boots on, and on his back is a satchel, and hanging from the bottom of that satchel is a ledger not too dissimilar to the ledger that the guard just had, and he's just standing leaning against that runner's post. As you guys approach, he looks up at you, Will, then looks at Merlin and fixates on Merlin for a moment, and then says, "All right, how can I help?"
Need you to do a bit of running.
All right then, where are you needing me to go?
You know where to find Vega Greenwood.
Vega Greenwood. Where is that?
He's probably at the council hall or down by the docks.
Council halls, I can take the message to, yeah.
Yep. That'll do.
Council halls, Mr. Greenwood. Hold on. He pulls the ledger off of his back and opens it up. Turns a few pages over. You can see there's all sorts of scribbling on there. And then he takes out like a piece of charcoal. This isn't a pen or anything. And then begins to write quite legibly. He writes Vega Greenwood. Spells it poorly, but it looks like it says Vega Greenwood, and says council halls, and says, "Okay, I got a message."
Do you want to tell him to meet us somewhere, maybe? One of the big taverns?
Probably, yes. Or probably best to meet him back at his estate, but I don't want to have to deal with getting by the guards again. You're right. What would be whatever the name is of like a conveniently located central tavern? Probably someplace a little bit upscale. Would I know the location of one of these places?
I don't know. In fact, give me a d20 and give me a history check, I guess. History will have to serve as a memory check here. d20 15. And then history is a 6.
Another incredibly high intelligence roll from me.
You know probably two things. Vega, on the 15, you're kind of aware that like you don't really recall coming to town and visiting any taverns with Lyra and her dad. This guy doesn't, I don't think, really spend a huge amount of time in the central taverns on the outskirts of town. But you do know that there are upscale saloons and taverns up in the up in that housing sector that he probably frequents. You did stay maybe in a tavern here, or visited one with Lyra that was known as the Mermaid, which is a very central and very large and famous tavern here. Probably one of the main ones down towards the dockside. It would be on this map, sort of more northern, like around here. This area here really acts as kind of one of the big main town square areas. It's a very, very busy place. This is the Manhattan Island Strip here, whatever that thing is called, of this huge city. So you know of a tavern called the Mermaid, and I think maybe that's one of the only things you recall. But I will say on a 15, you're probably aware that I don't know if you get the sense that really Vega would probably visit any of these taverns. He's rich enough to just summon up an entire feast in an evening at his whim at his mansion. So going to a tavern where anyone could be in, ridiculous concept. He's a little stuck up.
Right. Yeah, I'll probably just shake off the idea and say he's not really the taverning type. No, tell him Will from Guardia is here to see him, and it's extremely important. And we'll come to his residence.
Will from Guardia.
Yes.
extremely important.
Yes.
At whose residence? Your residence?
No, his.
His residence. Okay. Is that all?
As the sun sets. So at least we have a time frame.
As the sun sets. Sunsets at different times every day, but still can't.
Oh, that's right. Okay, hold on. I need a different measurement of time. I forgot where we were.
We go
I'll just-
at dawn.
What time of day is it?
It's about midday for you at the moment. So,
Okay,
sun
well-
has been setting pretty regularly around 5, I think. Last few
Okay,
days.
well, I'll probably try to say like 5 p.m. Tell
They
him.
have a 24-hour clock, so 5 p.m. That's in the evening.
Yes.
Very smart.
Okay.
Read and tell the time.
Well, as it states, I do have to charge you a little bit more because this has to go to council halls, which means it comes under a business writ. I don't know what that means, but that means that I have to charge you 1 silver piece for it.
I'll just hand him 2. It's my chance to flex.
Adorable.
He takes
Love him.
1 silver piece, puts it in one pocket, and then takes the other silver piece and puts it in a little, tiny little purse on his hip. And he closes his book and attaches it back to the satchel and says, "Okay, I will deliver you a message. Bye." And then he starts moving off in these oversized boots and moving south towards that huge set of buildings. And you guys are left in this tiny little marketplace.
That was adorable.
One wonders what kind of empire-toppling secrets are occasionally passed along by children under the age of 10 in this city.
I would consider that fast food. I'm hungry.
Merlin, you can't
Merlin.
eat children. Please.
Oh,
Merlin. No.
no? Okay.
Just no.
I like it when
Let's
they
get
run.
you something to eat.
Yeah.
Right. Find him some food.
And I pat Will on the shoulder as well, like sympathetically, just gently, as I see him kind of choked up earlier.
Sorry, I can't help myself.
Do any of the stalls have any kind of fresh, delicious brains, Merlin?
Fresh, delicious brains here.
Eat fresh.
Not really. There are a couple of stalls here that seem to be selling meats, but you don't get the sense that there's any brains. Speaking to maybe the butcher quickly, they don't have the brains. You'd have to go and move maybe further towards the main dockside markets where there are the meat sailors. By the way, Vega is the meat guy in town. Like most of the meat. And the
Meat man.
yeah, the meat man. He is the guy and this is obviously only information that Will would know, but a lot of the meat here, he's the guy that that is in charge of organizing the business of hunting, pelting, and then distributing this meat, and also making sure that it is clean and he actually has some very small governmental influence over the fact that, if people are selling dodgy meat, it might fall to him. So he kind of has a lot of influence over that. And that would be, basic red meats and hunted things. So there would be hunting lodges on the outside of Gerfreda that maybe hunt those forests. When it comes to farmed meats, like chicken and things, and fishing, that he probably does have a hand in it, no doubt, but it seems to fall to other things. But he's very much in charge of that kind of business. So you're kind of in the ultimate position for claiming brains somewhat, but obviously no one really knows who Will is.
It sounds so sinister. He has
Um,
ties with the government and he's in charge of all the meat.
oh yeah.
No meat comes in or out of this city.
He's
without me
got
knowing
his
about
hands in it. He's got his hands in the meat. So think, Will, you might have your suspicions that it might even be sinister. He doesn't, I don't think in your memory of him, I don't think he's come across as a very warm man, you know that your relationship with him isn't like this lovable, bubbling, enjoyable relationship. He's very much a strict businessman, a very cold man, and he is, he's those things. So I think it's very possible he is like a meat mafia man, and that influence is the type of power that he lusts after. Who knows? But Will, you would know that down by the dockside, maybe Lyra probably took you there. But I can't see why she wouldn't. So you would know that there are a set of stalls on the dockside, and there are many stalls around town, but a very large set of stalls and 2 warehouses that belong to the Greenwoods, and they're famous enough to have their own signage and things. They have a green and white sign with their names on it that you'll see in parts of the town. So stupidly, you have meat local knowledge I'm giving you here, so anything that falls under that jurisdiction. It'd be very easy to purchase some brains if you headed down to the larger markets. You'd also be able to go and get your own food at one of the many taverns down there. And it is probably a little less kind of like humble residential land where you find yourselves, at the moment. The moment you're in like the Bronx,
Advantage on knowledge checks related to meat.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. The most obscure character bonus ever.
Never forget that. That was one of your character traits once.
I think we'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone, because now that we've got this kid checking the council hall, I can go check the docks, and simultaneously we can, since they sell meat, buy Merlin the brains he wants so desperately. Fish brains, maybe. But yeah, I guess we'll go down to the docks area and buy
popcorn.
It's practically a box of popcorn for me. I'm gonna need a whole lot more than that.
And buy Merlin a snack. But while I'm down there, I can also check this warehouse area and see if he's around. Maybe I'll get lucky and bypass the red tape.
Okay, give me another investigation check, Will, to just try and head down there. This will be a little easier to do, though.
Here we go again. My knowledge checks have gone so well today. Did you say investigation or history?
Investigation, please.
Okay.
Ooh,
hey, there we go. I'm not dumb this time.
Will, this is a little easier for you to do. For the most part, it's a little easier to find a specific place in this main section of town than it is to find a slightly more obscure place in the moving through the residential area. You actually probably pass under another set of through another set of gates. Nobody making any checks, but there are several walled areas here. Gerfreda is not at all a militant town, but it is absolutely prepared for anything. Whether it's this ridiculous civil war notion that's coming, or just the fact that the Dark Realm is a very difficult place to live. This is there are multiple sections and sectors, and each of them seem to be walled off and quite defensible. And you move into the northeastern portion of this great city and find that it seems to be a lot more. This would probably remind you a little bit of Kira in that it's almost exclusively trading areas, and not just trade for market stalls and local trade, but it seems to have warehouses with carts coming and going that probably trade to all the other towns and do a lot of business from this part of town. And you are looking for brains first? Or,
yeah,
I guess you can 2 birds, 1 stone. You're looking for the actual thing. So give me a perception check, Will. While we're down here.
Oh. Okay.
20. And then roll me a d20 as well. And this is just pure luck die. 12 luck.
12.
introducing the luck system off the top of my head. I've actually been running a
What a
luck
DM.
system for years in my head, so quite often. So, you would remember and recognize a dwarf by the name of Stent. And he is the guy who runs the stalls along the dockside on behalf of Mr. Greenwood. While there are multiple stalls that he owns, and they're all over town, there are two very large wholesale-looking warehouses with these stalls out the front that you can go up and you can buy anything that has been hunted recently. At the moment, you actually probably do see deer and venison, well cut and prepared. There is a bunch of them probably hung to be bled, whatever that process is called. And you're down by this dockside. You're also getting this shock of sea air and salt on the wind as you see that ocean spreading out. Again, it's that same kind of view that you had in Som's Point, where there's a wide expanse of ocean that kind of hits this wall in the distance during the daytime as that mist lingers and maybe kind of draws your attention, in particular Will, for a moment before you recognize this dwarf Stent, a particularly short dwarf with you recognize that essentially he has very big feet but very small legs. And so he kind of waddles a little bit as he moves. But you recall him to be a relatively friendly man. He's kind of just barking orders at people in the distance. You'll recognize him instantly. A huge shock of black hair that kind of curls off the top of his head. An enormous beard, like a very, very squat Hagrid looking guy. Yeah, he's probably shouting stuff. You recognize him. Maybe you met him a year ago as he's in the distance. Right, get that moving, eh? And then you, hurry up, move it back. Instantly recognize this fellow underneath that Greenwood's signage.
Resist the urge to call him a penguin and walk over there. And try to catch him before he disappears into any buildings or whatever.
Yeah.
Stent! And just call out to him.
Yeah, he immediately turns on you and looks up and squints. The last time he saw you, you were probably just in a tunic and trousers and not in all of your armor. You probably weren't armored at all.
Every time I've ever been here, I've probably been wearing the finest clothes that I had in every single time I've ever been here, so I look very different.
Right. Even if you had brought a sword with you for the journey, I would imagine it wouldn't be on you as you walk around town. And he looks up at you. It takes him a moment before he says, John.
Close. Starts with a W.
Wallace.
Still, there are two L's in there.
Why do I recognize you and where from?
It's Will, and I probably wasn't all armored up last time I saw you.
Will, with the wee later.
That's me.
Right. Yous come with me. These ragtag group with you.
Yes. They're with me.
Right. Is that a gnome?
Yes, I actually
it is.
happen to be a gnome.
Right. Aye, yous come with me. Where's Lyra?
She's not here.
Aye, right. Come on. Come with me. He turns around and starts looking about. Somebody walks up to him and he says, "Not now! You deal with it!" And then he starts to kind of waddle over towards the water's edge, taking you off behind the front-facing stalls, behind a set of carriages, and leans up against one of the warehouse sides. There's generally no one here, and you get the sense that he just wanted to get away for a moment. He holds out his hand and vigorously shakes yours, looking up at you and says, Stent, nice to meet you. You're a gnome. Shake your hand there. Right. Yous are alive. 'cause we heard about the refuge.
Yeah. That's why I'm here.
There's a
I
lot
wasn't
of talk
sure.
that there was no survivors.
That's mostly accurate.
Mr. Greenwood, I sent groups out searching, search parties. Didn't find nothing.
There wasn't much to find.
But here you are.
Yeah.
And you took your
Yeah.
time. It's almost been a month.
I didn't want to give up on the trail myself.
What trail? Them's what did it.
Yes. Well, you said he sent out search parties.
Aye.
I don't know what they found, but it weren't an accident, obviously. It's the same people that hit Som's Point. I'm sure you've heard of that by now. It's right across the bay.
Aye. Some sort of attack. Some people saying
So-
bandits and other people saying dragons. Apparently there's a wyvern.
There's no dragons. It was just a well-organized group. Some of them were former military.
A
Putting the tactics to
well-organised
use against
group.
their own people.
We're talking, what? That's got to be a squadron like an army. Washing up
was.
the north like that from Grant's Refuge up to Som's Point.
Yeah.
That's
They,
a big fucking group.
There was a lot of them. I think they've lost a few along the way. They hit us pretty hard and fast.
It's not right.
And they got me pretty good.
Right. I mean, you got yourself some armor and you're walking.
I picked myself up. They thought my wound was fatal. And they were wrong.
Left you for dead.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
I crawled out of the mud and I followed them halfway across the continent until I could learn their names. And now I've got the full story of what happened there. And I wanted to relay it to Vega, that's why I'm here, but he's kind of hard to get a hold of. Was hoping you could help me. Also, I need to buy food. I need to buy food for the small one here.
Food. Right, yeah, we'll get you sorted. You want us to cook you something up? I'll get the boys out the back. Cook
That's
you
quite
a
right.
little some.
No fuss needed. I actually kind of prefer it raw.
But
Right, but we've only got meat. I can go around. I'll see if I can get somebody to fetch you some veg. We'll cook you up a little meal.
I think Merlin tries to disguise not trying to gag when he mentions vegetables.
oh, this one's quite the carnivore. He likes his meat, actually.
Right.
Vegetarian.
Right. Okay, well, hey, look, Ian, over there. You help yourself to anything off that there cart.
Well,
He
think
points to
Merlin
a
would
cart.
just leap.
There's just a bunch of freshly cut meat on there. Let's see if there's any brains though. Luck dice coming in. Yes, there's for some reason probably I don't know, a box of brains. There's a lot of brains. Yeah, there's off cuts, offal bits, and maybe you look around for a bit. You can take a bite out of the other bits of fresh meat, and it does seem to be freshly cut. There's probably somebody doing the butchering nearby and bringing them from the warehouse, loading them onto these wagons that seem to most likely be taken out. And yeah, you find some of these off carts, and within them you find some brains that would probably be deer brains, which is going to sate your hunger. And while Merlin wanders off and just starts to devour some brains, Stent says, right, so you went on the road straight away, eh?
I did.
I take it that's because you'd already got Lyra to safety. Aye.
She's not coming back.
Right. I'm sorry, my boy.
Yeah.
Did you get any of them? The bastards. You catch them?
I should have come straight here. But grief and anger. I went after them myself instead. I was worried in the time it would took me to go raise help that they'd have vanished.
Aye.
So I went after them myself. Oh, I ran into this lot along the way.
And, what about...
It wasn't entirely fruitless, though. I learned their names. I learned their colors. Their flag. And spot them.
Right.
And I caught their leader and I killed him in the streets in Soames Point.
Shit. Okay. Right. Well,
But there's still more.
and you're a lot. Gardia. What are they doing now?
Oh, say that again?
You're a lot. Gardia, the soldiers.
Yeah.
Are they going to do something about it or no?
It sounds like they're already aware. I spoke to one of them. A fellow named Don Walker. One of the battle mages from Guardia's army. Seems that they're already well aware, but the problem is chasing these guys.
Right, but then Soames Point, they're backed up.
They put out to sea from Soames Point. That was where my chase ended.
Aye, but where are they gonna go? Can he come here? Down the coast.
They don't have many places they can go. I doubt they'd come here, they're wanted men. They'd probably go Gore's Point or even further south.
Right. Well, it's good to see you. All right. But
It's good to see you too. Nice to
Mr. Greenwood, though, he's already pretty sure. You know, I think he made his mind up. I don't know if I'll be happy to see you or no, but I'm sure he'll like the information.
Made
and
his
the
mind
names.
up about what?
Well, whether what happened.
Yeah. I'll have the distinct pleasure of explaining to him why I'm alive and she isn't.
I haven't seen him for 2 weeks.
Right? Wait, what?
2 weeks he's not been down here.
Is he
Usually
still in
comes-
town?
Aye. I think he's up in the council halls, locked up, busying himself. Did the same thing after his wife.
I already sent a runner to tell him that I'm in town. If he's already heard the news about the refuge and he thinks me dead, then hearing that I'm around, I imagine he'll make time to come talk to me.
Aye, no. We'll get you a business rate. You can take ours, or we'll write you up an order. Aye, we'll do that. We'll get you an order. You can take that up,
Yeah.
go straight to him, they'll let you in.
Into the council hall itself?
Aye. Go straight in
works.
and talk to him in his office.
It's probably for the best.
Right. Well, did you want some of that food? get you a spot of lunch before you go off.
Might as well.
I think it's probably for the best. For
Hey, you! Get Little Pete! Little Pete! Hey, time to cook up.
You's all eating steak.
Fine with me.
Steak?
Thank you.
Right, 4. No. Queen's alright.
3 steaks! Aye, the good shit.
just-
No, the T-bone's a big shit. Aye, good shit. Best shit we got.
just 2.
2.
3 game. Won't you be hungry by the time it comes out? Aye, don't know why he's missing. Aye. Aye.
2 coming up. Right. Yous give me a minute. Come here. Make yourselves at home down here by this here stall. Relax, take in the sea breeze, eh? Look at that. Fill your lungs, clearing out all that shite, all that muck from the road. And we'll get you some food, and I'll go get you an order of business. You'll be able to take that up, walk straight in, have words with him. Hey. You're doing alright, okay? You're doing alright. Is he eating
Thank you.
brains? He doesn't know that's brains. Does he think that's fish?
It's a
he'll be
it's a gnome
fine.
thing. It's a
Yeah.
gnome thing.
He's happy.
A couple of gnomes in my time, never seen him eat brains. Alright. Please give me a minute here. I'll be back.
Okay.
He steps away, moving into the warehouse towards presumably an office in the back somewhere. Leaves you guys there. There's kind of an area behind this set of stalls that you can probably sit on the dock side, overlooking the sea. It's probably pretty decent, private enough.
You trust this guy? My intuition says he's trustworthy, but
Well, he's got nothing to gain by screwing me over, so sometimes that alone is enough.
Do you want us there with you when you talk to him?
You know, I appreciate the offer, but I think maybe I don't know. Honestly, it's hard to talk to him. I've spent the last 3 years of my life trying to prove myself to this guy. Show him I could actually do something with my life other than hit people over the head with a sword. And now I gotta come in there and tell him I have failed in the most spectacular fashion possible.
You haven't failed.
He's not gonna see it that way.
you think he's going to think he could defend an entire town from bandit crew that big? Come on,
Eh.
surely he's more reasonable than that.
Maybe he is. I don't know. We'll see. I've most of my conversations with him have been very formal and very surface level. But he's the stereotypical stern dad, but he's also the I still don't know whether it's just me and him getting in my head or if he really is just one of the most intense and intimidating people I've ever met, but he's worse than any drill sergeant I ever had in terms of staring right into your soul. But maybe that'll work in my favor, because he knows when he's being lied to. Like maybe if I tell him the truth of everything that's happened, even if it does sound a bit far-fetched, I think he'll believe me.
If he stares into your soul, he's going to see a broken man trying to do everything he can to make things right. And everything you've done since then proves that.
Not everything. Most of it, though. Had some missteps along the way. And you caught the brunt of a lot of it. Sorry for that. I really wasn't ready for all this.
None of us were.
Doesn't make you a broken man, Will. Merlin's he's been there the entire time. He slipped in and has just been listening in.
No, broken's the right word. Thing is, things that are broken can be mended. You get back up.
I'd like to call it hurting.
That was what got me through in the army, you know? I wasn't ready for that either. I never wanted to join. Got more or less forced into it. And I wasn't very good at it.
Well,
But I
just
kept
like
getting
Vic
back up.
said, we're never ready for anything, but yes, no, you never give up. And that's something I've always admired about you.
If it means anything, I think we can all agree that you've proven yourself to us.
It does mean something.
And whether or not this man sees that, don't think it matters that much. I know it feels like it does in the moment, but
Well, honestly, I don't know what he's going to think of me when this is all over, whether he believes me or not. But he can be rather vengeful. And having his daughter taken from him, at the very least, if I fail, the guys who did this aren't going to live very long. This is a insurance policy, if you will. That and it's still my duty to go talk to him and tell him what happened. I'm the only witness of what happened to her, so...
we can wait outside, and if you feel like you need support, maybe you can call us in or something. It's up to you.
Actually, why don't you come in with me?
Okay.
All of us?
Yeah. If Marlon can behave for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll
Oh,
take a moment to wipe any
don't
like
you
brain
worry.
residue from your picking pieces of brain out of your beard, trying to make you look
Not
presentable.
gonna lie, your friend Stent was already looking like a snack. Oh,
I walk over to
I'm,
Will and start like cleaning his armor a little bit, like buffing bits out, trying to make him look a bit more presentable.
Excuse me? Is it you what wants steaks made?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know what ways you wanted it, so I did one well done, I did one medium and one rare. They ain't on plates neither, I just got them on these like wooden trays. So I'll put that one there for you then, and then that one there, and then the well done one, maybe you should have that. He hands it to Merlin. There, no, actually no, you probably want the rare one, you need the iron. You're looking a little bit peaky. Alright.
I think he's already
Merlin
eaten, I
already
think
ait,
we're good.
actually.
Right, well,
just
there you
under
go.
the weather.
Four. Do you sure you don't need another one? Sten told me 3 of them.
No, 3 is fine,
Fine.
thanks.
All right. Well, hopefully that's cooked nice. Do you want anything else? We got pears.
Pairs of what?
You ever had a pear?
A
It's
Pear
like an
what?
apple, but it's
Pear,
like
it's-
not an
it's a
apple.
oh.
Like an apple, but not an apple. Do we
Yeah, I
want
don't know.
pears?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
Sure.
hold on. I'll get you some pears as well. I've got a couple of them.
Okay.
He wanders off
Thank
the house
you.
to get you some pears. And that is where we're going to go to a break this evening. Thanks so much for watching, people. Going to have a short break here. And when we come back, Will can face down the worst encounter so far. That was, the tweet I put out was that Will has to face the worst encounter of the game so far.
Yeah.
His father-in-law. Thanks for watching. We'll be back in a few short minutes. Welcome back to part 2. And you guys will have eaten this lunch. Maybe made an attempt to make Will look vaguely presentable. And Stent will have returned during this and handed you a scroll, which is a piece of paper that you can unwrap. It's not sealed, which is a thing known as an order of business, which he explains will allow you to get past the permissions. It gives you permissions to pass the guards at the council halls to allow you in to see whomever is involved with the Greenwood insignia and the sigil of Stent on there as well. Presumably, that is where you're headed next.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Now, this one is very easy to find because it is a hop, skip, and a jump across this marketplace and up into these sets of halls here. But this place is crazy looking. You guys moving up towards where the council halls are. You notice an increase in sort of military presence and nobility. But once you're actually up to the central court that allows you into the varying halls here and pathways and gardens that make up the center part of town to take you all the way up to the palatial grounds as well, where the actual city is run. There is just enormous, great big stone pillars holding these huge bluestone architectural wonders that are sitting with no real deterioration. The sea air is doing nothing to damage these things, whether they're maintained or they're magical in some way. These things look incredible. There is a somewhat gothic architecture to it, yet somehow it remains quite bright. The tiles on the roofing kind of a greenish blue, and sat once you move up into the center of this city against that open expanse of sea by the daylight, it would be probably quite an interesting sight for most of you who hadn't seen it before. However, as you approach, another one of these guards in that in the greens and golds of Gerfreda stops you as you approach and simply says, yes, do you have a writ or an order?
I do. And I'll just hand him the writ.
He looks it over and looks up at you, closes it and says, very well. Yes, you're looking for Mr. Greenwood himself?
Correct.
Right, well, straight down these halls, all the way through the gardens at the far end. You'll have to go up 2 sets of stairs. On the second floor, you'll find a large desk. Now, ask the woman there for Mr. Greenwood. You'll have to show her this as well. And she'll lead you in to the offices.
Thank you.
You guys head on through. Much quieter in here as you start to move down these halls. And every now and then a group of nobility will move past you, the hustle and bustle of as they discuss their kind of merchant matters, and then a group of militant armored men will march in front of you and move down these halls. Most of the doors down here have a guard or something stationed on the front of the doorway, and there is a bunch of hallways and twisting and turning sets of stairs, locked doors, open doors, rooms that you can see groups of people in discussing varying things in the city. Eventually you come to an area where there is a central courtyard, a large ornate looking fountain at the center of it, pushing clean water out with a few trees. varying people sitting around eating their lunches and things before you move up a set of very large, kind of faux marble looking stairs. This place starts to get really regal as you move into the center parts and into a huge open hallway with a very large mahogany desk. And here it is very quiet. There's almost nobody around once you get inside these hallways. And there is a small, quite old looking woman sitting at a desk who looks up towards you guys as you step in and says, "Yes."
Hello. Got a writ here for you. And I'll just slide the paper onto the desk. For the
Yes.
attention of
Are you
Mr.
delivering a
Greenwood.
message or are you expected?
Delivering a message in person.
Very well. Would you like me to deliver the message?
No, it needs to be from me to him directly.
Very well. Very well. Okay. Mr. Greenwood is a very busy man, so you'll have to make it quick. You understand?
I'll keep it short.
Right. Straight down the end here. To a right at the corridor. Third door on your left. That's the offices of Mr. Greenwood. If he's not in there, keep pushing down the corridor to the very end. It's his private office.
Thank you.
If you can't find him, come back to me.
Will do.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks.
The
I will
four of you
consult
look
that
very
third
out of
door
place
on the
here
left.
as you trudge down these hallways. Okay. Will, give me a perception check. And Fire, give me a perception check.
I am a very nervous man right now.
I am also
What the
nervous,
hell?
but it makes me more. I'm hypervigilant.
What a nat 20.
Yeah, Fire, you pass a room that is filled with shadow elves. The door is open, and there is about 15 shadow elves in long robes and cloaks, the type of thing that your elders would maybe wear to a formal event, sitting around discussing things in hushed tones. As you move past the doorway, you catch the sound of your mother tongue, the Elven, with that thick kind of southern accent as they discuss things. They seem to be discussing business. You catch something about money changing hands and product moving, but there is a bunch of, probably for the first time in a while you've seen, since the silence, a group of shadow elves here. That's on the first door, but the third door you come to is an office with a very large, ornate-looking table, a window on the other side that overlooks the south of town, but nobody in there. Pushing further on to the very end of the hall, you come to the doorway that presumably contains the man you're looking for.
I don't knock. I just push the door open.
Let's see how that works out.
It's a pole. It's a pole door. So he embarrassed himself.
That would be lovely. Unfortunately, that is not what happened. You push the door open and open into a room with a pretty plain-looking room, really, but and a little smaller than maybe you might expect, with a single desk at the far end, a huge-looking chair with leather-bound back sitting at the other side of it. There is bookshelves that line two sides of the walls here, which all pretty much seem to contain the same kind of ledgers. These are the type of things, probably bookkeeping type ledgers. Behind the desk, there is two small windows, round porthole-looking windows that look out over the east of town, out to sea. A couple of shafts of light coming down And as you open the door, there are two smaller chairs sitting in front of the desk, but at the desk is the man you're looking for, Vega Greenwood. He's probably in his 50s, pretty much entirely bald, save for a few tufts of grey around the sides of his head. He does have a moustache of white that sits over his lip. He's wearing a pretty standard looking cardigan, nothing that gives away too much wealth necessarily, but there is a pin on the side of it with 3 black gems sitting in it that kind of betray a little more wealth. A decent looking blue tunic underneath, buttoned up, and a kind of a napkin looking thing around his neck, tucked into his shirt. In front of him is a clear dinner. He's sitting and eating food, and he looks up, and I think you notice for a moment there's no register and a flash of anger across his face before he recognizes you, Will, and immediately pushes his food away and says, "Willerton Ortus."
Sir.
He picks up a piece of paper that looks like it was torn from a book, and waves it around and says, "I'd assumed this a joke."
It's not.
Will from Guardia. Extremely important. I should say so. Are you coming in, or are you going to stand in the doorway like a dog?
I'll start walking towards him.
He looks at the other 3 and says, "You can stay outside."
I
They're
just
with
look
me.
at Will. Yeah.
Very well. Close the door.
Why, yard.
Merlin, shush.
He takes the napkin out from his shirt, folds it, and puts it to one side. He crosses his hands and doesn't look at you, turns his head and says, "So, you got my daughter killed?"
Is that how you want this to go?
He gives you another look and says, "I knew you weren't good enough to earn a living or to pay for that little home, and I certainly didn't think you'd earn enough through that masonry for a single day's wage, but I thought if nothing else, a military son like you would keep my girl safe."
Just let me know if you want me to step in at any time.
Did the best I could.
Never should have let her stay in that little village. It's too dangerous out there.
Do you know why she was there?
Why?
She said she needed to put distance between herself and you.
Tell me how it happened exactly.
Community dinner. A modest feast. Not much by your standards, but for us, kind of a big deal. We were gathered around. Smelled smoke. I and most of the other able-bodieds stood up, went to go douse a fire. One of our buildings was ignited for some reason. Had no idea what caused it. Went to the well to draw water. We were ambushed. About a dozen of them with crossbows. Shot us down whilst we gathered round the well. That in and of itself right there ended most of it, because any of us that were capable of fighting were the first to respond to the fire. They knew this would happen. I survived the arrow. Got up. Through the smoke and through all the mud and blood. A couple of them saw me. Came to finish me off. I'm stubborn and I don't die easy. I took one of their swords and killed him with it. Then I ran to find her in all the confusion. With her last words, she let me know that it was an inside job. They'd paid off a local. Unbar the gates and open it so they could all get in quietly. Man named Darrow was the traitor. We tried to sneak out of town. We got caught on the way out. Some of the attacking force, they were, orcs, or half-orcs. They could see us even in the dark when we tried to sneak. I stayed there to try and fight off about 5 of them by myself while she ran for it. She didn't make it, and they left me for dead in the ditch. Their wound wasn't as lethal as they thought. I crawled out of there a couple days later. Starving, half dead, but still clinging to life. Maybe you were right. Maybe I wasn't ever really cut out for business. Because the first thought I had was to pick up my sword and shield again and go after them. And that's exactly what I did. Maybe the wrong decision in hindsight. Could have gone for help. Could have tried to rally town guards, but I did learn their names, their numbers, the name of their troop, their insignia. If I hadn't gone after them, I don't think I would have caught any of it.
A list of failures with a silver lining. The men, their names, who are they, their descriptions. I'll hunt them down and I'll strip them of their skin right here in the streets and pelt them like the animals that they are.
The Leon Viperum mercenary group, or at least they were mercs before. Now it looks like they're just bandits. Their leader's name was Massimo. I don't know who's in charge now. They had a second in command by the name of Mackin, an enforcer by the name of Boro. Those are the only names that mattered. The rest seem to be rank and file. Their total number is unknown. The number that hit Grant's Refuge, about 30. They were also responsible for the strike against Soms Point, where they did the same thing. When I was in Soms Point asking around, their front gate had been sabotaged. The mechanism wasn't working. They couldn't close it when they came under attack. But they have a wizard traveling with them by the name of Arias. So hiring conventional mercenaries may not be fruitful when they come up against someone wielding powerful magics.
Well, I shall decide what is best and how I shall reap my vengeance. I appreciate the news, Willerton, and I appreciate that you came here to tell it to me. But you may walk out of my office and out of my town, and if you show yourself here again, I shall not be best pleased. I would like to grieve, and I certainly don't need your face as a reminder.
Fair enough. It's likely that I'll not be coming back this way again. I'm putting out to sea. For 2 reasons. Last we saw of these Leon Viper guys, they were in a ship leaving Sumps Point. You know what? Never mind.
You're going to hunt them down yourself. With what? An elf, a tiefling, and a gnome. You're going to take down this entire force. On what? A rowboat?
No, I'm going to do something much more important than that. Although at this point taking on 30 men is not out of the question.
Well, you seem to be good at killing. I wish you were better at protecting. But you may have at it. I care not what you do. Take a boat, sail right out into the mist for all I care.
Well, that's exactly what we're gonna do, I suppose. This is likely the last time that we're going to meet. And I'm done trying to prove myself to you.
You have nothing to prove. You have failed. You had one task, and you failed at it.
Suppose I did. Goodbye, Vega.
Goodbye.
I'm just gonna walk out.
He sits there rigidly watching you leave.
I'll just walk out and wait. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say I'll follow and sort of cast him a scornful glance as we go. Kind of pitiful.
I don't think he barely even looks at you. He's kind
Yeah.
of eyeing Will.
I'll just like walk out and wait till close the door behind me. You know, I was going to try and enlighten him on the importance of everything that's happened and all that we've been through. But I've suddenly realized I don't care what he thinks.
He doesn't deserve to know.
I don't think Vega's an evil man, but he's certainly not a good one.
It seems to me, as someone who has only the view of an outsider when it comes to his perspective on things, it seems like he is a father who is mourning the loss of his daughter. And I think somewhere deep down inside him that stems from his own failure to protect her.
The only reason she was in Grant's Refuge was to get away from him. I met her because she didn't want to be near him, and he knows it. And he's just gonna try and take it out on me.
It's much
And I'm not
easier
gonna let
after
him.
she's gone.
If
To
she
pin
were
it
here,
on you.
if she were here, she'd snap at him and put him in his place. She's the only one who ever could. But I'm done trying to prove myself to him. It was never gonna happen anyway. The only thing that he can count is money. And while Lyra may have had all the wealth in the world and come from a rich family, I had a real father. She didn't.
Mm-hmm. You
She just
said
had him.
you're never gonna see him again?
Well, I can't shake this feeling that when we sail out into the water, I might not come back.
Yeah.
Rest of you might.
Is he the type to throw someone in jail if they call him a entitled cunt?
In jail, no. He's a lot more subtle than that. He'd take his time to sully your reputation.
My reputation is very good, as we know.
Well, see that room full of elves we passed?
Mm-hmm.
I know him, because I've heard him doing it before. People who cross him, he doesn't usually retaliate directly. He just undermines you to your core, makes you feel worthless, and makes sure everyone else thinks you're worthless too. It's just how he's always been. That's why she
Projecting.
wanted to get away from him.
For what
But I'm
it's
still
worth,
glad I made this trip. I really
didn't
needed to see
fail.
him.
well, it doesn't look like she got much love from him. And I'm sure in the time you knew her, you gave her more
you
love than
wanted-
she'd ever known. That's not failure.
He failed.
Yeah.
And he won't face it, so he's taking it out on you. And I know nothing of him. But I could tell from that one conversation that I was witness to.
You know deep down you've already done so much more than he possibly could. I can also still go back and bite him in the ass, quite literally.
Yeah, I'm really, I'm trying to be respectful because I have a great deal of respect for you.
Me too.
But if you unleash me,
I firmly believe that a heart as cold as his, he'll put himself into an early grave. You don't need to help.
Did you start your relationship with her after you met him or before?
After. She brought me
Wow.
out here to meet him. Not that she
Yeah.
wanted to. She is a rich girl from rich blood. Why do you think she was camping out in a tiny little working class town in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
She did it to get away from him.
I think he knows that. He knows that if he wouldn't have pushed her away, and if he would have been decent, bare minimum.
We were all kind of shocked when she walked into town the first time. She wasn't exactly dressed the part. We knew right away she was way more wealthy and way more refined than any of us. But that only lasted a week at most. She started working with her own hands, probably the first time she ever had in her life. She said it was so much better than the Ivory Castle here in Gerfreda. I knew he could be like this. I've heard him at social gatherings and such. They've had me over to dinner and a party once. But nearly every time I've spoken to him, she's been with me, so he's been required to be somewhat civil. And if he or her brother got out of hand, she would shut them down pretty quick. Honestly, I feel more sorry for them than anyone else. Because without her around, there's nothing to keep them from self-destructing. He has a son, too. He's just as bad. Enough about me and them, though. We've got a ship to catch. And I don't know if I'll come back or not, but if I do, I can assure you I'm probably not coming back to Gerfreda. You know, I meant to bring this up earlier, but got distracted with certain someone face planting into a pit and then getting jumped by orcs, and then somebody else deciding to touch an icy wall. It's been a couple of things distracting, but do you remember when we summoned Earthaxe, received his blessings?
Yeah.
Did you hear what he called me?
Child?
Why do you think he would call me child? I don't know if I'm the youngest in the group, because honestly I don't have any idea how old you are, but I'm certainly not a child, right?
I suppose we're all children in the eyes of something that ancient, but you were singled out.
I think you understand where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Whatever all this child of light and child of darkness business is, it's pretty clearly going to be me. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, I can say in confidence that it is a very well good thing. We know who you are. You are honest and brave, and I can say now an incredibly dear friend. I think the fate of, well, everyone here is, rest assured, in good hands.
I hope so. Part of me is glad that it's me, because I at least trust that I'll try to do the right thing. I just hope I can figure out what the right thing is. We still don't really know what we're getting into. There's a temple here in town dedicated to Ayrsa, a name that's come up once or twice now. Last time I was in the mist, I heard a voice speaking to me, and I suspect it was her. I want to go to this temple. They're probably more well-informed on the topic than anyone else. Maybe someone can finally identify what this little sun medallion thing is that I've been carrying around this whole time.
Worth a try.
Let's go do that. I can put all this talk of fish and meat behind me at last.
Okay. So, I'd imagine some of that conversation took place while you were exiting the council halls and back out into the city itself. I guess we'll just roll me another investigation check. We'll take into account you maybe asking a few people on the way out the directions to one of these temples. A 9 is not great. I think you get the direction. Somebody informs you that a straight shot across the marketplace will take you into another kind of smaller residential place. It's up on a hill and is an area where quite a lot of the town watch and military stay while they're cadets and training. And you guys make your way across this town square, move away. Maybe it takes you about 10-15 minutes to get all the way back to pretty much where you came from with Stent, and then up and into the area where you were looking for this temple. But you're looking around for a long time and you just don't find it. They describe it as a small little moss-covered temple with a small bell at the top of a little tower at the back of it, and yeah, it's just almost impossible for you guys to find. It seems oddly elusive. Questioning one of the other people, they point you down one street. You walk down that street only to find that it isn't there. You question somebody else. They point you back the way you came. Will, give me a wisdom saving throw. Match your ooh, nice.
An 8.
So if you'd like, I can tell you where this church is. But it's going to come at some sort of cost to you.
I feel like I would just keep asking around rather than resorting to anything that extreme. Surely someone in town must know where it is.
Okay. You have that strange sense of deja vu happening right now where your memories are blending out a little bit. You don't really even get the sense that you've been here before. Your previous incarnations. But one of them is present. You get the sense of the feeling of your most recent incarnation as this fellow known as Joe May. You recall memories of him intertwined a little bit with the religious incarnation of yourself, who was Vane, the one that was with Korsheldi. And there is a conflict between them in yourself here. One of them so enamored and so driven by this goddess, Aersa. The absolutely fully convinced that the voice, which is what she's also known as, is the thing that is driving him forward, that is guiding him to some sort of divine justice or end, to whatever the plague is, that the mist is, that is choking the life out of this landscape, this realm. But the other incarnation in you here of Joe May is in direct conflict. Absolutely and completely convinced. This is nothing to do with a goddess. There is no goddess Aersa. There is no guiding force that is fating anything or is guiding you to face down some form of mortal enemy. But I think those two things will be present in you as you consider this church. Let's have the other three roll me investigation checks. You guys have to beat a 15 collectively.
We're pretty bad at rolling.
Will is like moving up and down here. He is he's moving down one street. He's asking someone. Somebody is pointing him in the direction, and he's walking down the street. And then he's turning around, saying, "I can't find it." You guys are not too sure. He seems to be a little more confused, maybe than usual, distracted. But it makes sense after what he's just been through. He asks someone else. They point him back up to another street, back to the direction which he came. He wanders down that street. There's a little dissonance to him at the moment. But you guys are all extremely aware of this very small church. You guys have walked past it like 3 times, and Will just absolutely is unable to see it. He's basically walked, not like directly past it, but it's like clearly over there, and then you guys move down this alleyway, and he asks someone, and then he directs you back up to that church, and you're like, yeah, it's there. So just so you're aware, he is maybe beginning to approach someone else, or is scratching at the back of his head, and doesn't seem to be aware that this very small 2-story building with a bunch of moss covering it, a big wide open high vaulted door that leads into a small, relatively small little kind of chapel looking thing. There's a little temple on top of an area surrounded by lots of these little houses, relatively young people moving around the area. Will just does not seem to be aware of this church right now, even though you 3 are hyper aware of it.
Hey, Will? Will,
Yeah.
is that the building you're looking for?
Moss tower, small bell.
There it is. Really obvious, Will. How could you have missed it?
Oh, so I can see it when they point it out?
Yeah.
Yes. I think that's it.
Okay. Do you want to head inside?
Yeah. Now let's go talk and see if there's a priest around.
Okay.
4 of you step up towards this building. You step inside this church, and it is a very simple looking thing. There are iron candelabras that are hanging down from the walls, and on the furthest wall away from you, sort of drenched in this shaft of natural light, is a depiction of a female elf with long hair looking upwards, kind of etched and masoned in and out from the back wall. There is only a single person in here, an elf. This is a high elf, not a shadow elf. She has black hair that's very long and running down the back of her back, tied up in a bun. But you notice that there are strands of like a kind of a blonde or a gold to parts of her hair here. She turns around and you get the sense that she's quite old. Her eyes are quite roomy, and she looks at you, Will, and I think you have this odd sense of recognition. She seems to have the same sense of recognition with you, but shakes it off. Walking towards you, she says, "You are here for justice or revenge?"
Yes,
Which?
but here for answers first.
Answers.
Do I know you?
No.
Can't help but feel that you know me.
Yes. I have that effect on some people sometimes. I have a...
But it's more than usual right now, isn't it?
I get the sense you have the same feeling.
Have you ever seen something like this before?
No.
And I'll hold up the sun amulet thing.
She looks at it. Shakes her head. I have not. No.
I was wronged and left for dead. And I woke up wearing this. And it's taken me a while to track down the source of what it all means, but along the way I've heard the name Ayrsa mentioned once or twice. And I feel a strange warmth from the sun that I didn't before. So I came here looking for answers. There's a word on the back of this medallion. It says Renescator. You know what this means?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes. It's not a word, but a phrase.
What does it mean?
I will not answer your questions until you answer me one of my own.
Very well. That's fair.
What is your definition of evil?
No, I've never really had to sit down and define it in outright words before, but I suppose people who are willing to inflict suffering on others to gain for themselves.
Your revenge and justice that you seek, would that not be an infliction of suffering on others for your own personal gain?
I don't think so, no. I think it would be putting an end to theirs. After all, after what they did to me, they went on to do it again. And they'll probably do it again. And I don't think stopping evil is evil.
So you are the arbiter of definition.
No, you asked me for mine. People
That
can
I did.
define it as they like.
Well, it says, I am revived, renewed. I am born again. Renacitor. And don't ask me the language or how I know. We've not met before, we met now. But it was always going to happen, I think. Have you ever had visions of things to come?
I have. Well,
And this one too, perhaps?
I've had visions of things that have happened in the past. Don't know that I've had visions of the future. Not quite the same.
She looks down and over to Merlin, dead in the eye. This one is a little different.
Oh my god, you could smell me from there, can't you?
No.
Oh.
It is not your smell, little gnome. You walk a similar path to me.
By which do you mean you speak?
You have seen a future. Others have seen a future. And you have affected it by befriending this man. There are others who know of possible futures, but I think it comes to you, for you in particular, to determine what lies beyond today. for I have seen nothing more than this moment. However, there were many different answers in my dreams to the question I asked. In one of them, you gave the answer that you gave. In another, a different. In another, a different. In some, it was not you that came here. It was glancing over at Fix, tiefling man. I asked the same question. Alas, I always knew. I am revived, renewed. I am born again.
Do you know where it might have come from?
I believe it came from you, dear boy.
I'm afraid you'll have to forgive me because I don't know anything of the history or the beliefs of your establishment. But in your kind of legends or beliefs or whatever you want to call them, is there a mention of a child of light or a child of darkness?
Child of light is anybody who walks in Eris's light. I suppose that means a child of darkness could be somebody who does not.
See.
But why do you ask me?
Who else would I ask?
You have all the answers, do you not? I had thought to question you when you arrived. What does it all mean? Why have I had these dreams my long life? Who are all these people? Where are you going? Am I supposed to come with you or stay here? Is my job done? Is this my job? Did I see you walk in? And you are lost.
Admit I don't really know how to respond to that.
Well, it is said that Eris's voice will split the mist, and her light will once again shine on us. Tell me, do you hear her voice?
I've heard it once.
And this voice, what did it say? How did it sound?
She sounded warm and inviting. But also frightening. Like that same warmth could burn you to death in an instant.
Well,
She cautioned me against asking her too many questions for fear that my mind couldn't take it.
in our teachings, we are not to ask, but take action. We are to learn and to grow, but cautiously. Still. There are many different teachings of the ways of the voice. In the desert, they believe it is penance, that we have somehow wronged our gods, and only one waits for us beyond. And that when our time in this prison is served, we will be free. I hear that the dwarves believe that the voice is a version of ourselves reflected, and that we should listen to our own advice. Follow our instincts, for it is our own instinct that will save us and drive us forward. But I get the sense that my understanding of Aersa was influenced by this meeting and whatever choices you have made.
Well, I can't really claim to be a student of your teachings, but I do follow my instinct and I do take action. Cautiously. Like to make sure I'm not doing something dumb first, but when the time is right, I won't hesitate.
Well, I shall ask you my final question, the one that I never got the answer for in my dreams.
Sure. Very well.
The goddess, is she real?
I think so long as you continue to believe in her and follow her, she will be.
Well, if you don't mind, I need to go and lie down. As I'm to understand it, you have a boat to catch?
I do.
Yet, it is not wise for us to converse any longer. Myself, this gnome, the tiefling, we are able to affect your fate, and I don't want to do that. If you don't mind, I'm going to close the temple for the day.
As you wish. Thanks for your time.
Walk in the light.
I'll try.
Rest easy. Don't let the bedbugs bite.
She watches you leave, and behind you closes these doors. You hear a bar come down, a wooden bar behind you. You step back outside, that cold air from the sea grounding you a little bit before the sounds of the city return. Will, would you like to know if the goddess is real?
I think my most important takeaway from this whole visit was that it really doesn't matter. And should worry less about proving myself to other people and worrying about their definitions, and just focus on trying to do the right thing. So no. Whether she's real or not, it's not going to change what I'm going to do next.
Okay. Roll me a con save then. Yeah, you steel yourself. There's a lot of thoughts and feelings as you step away from this woman, this strange sense of an almost inverted or reflected deja vu from meeting her, that sense of recognition floats away. And you have a few different conflicted thoughts coming from alternate sources, Eldarin, Vane, Jome. As you step outside, and I think as that salt air hits you and the sounds of the town come back around, you steel yourself, and those thoughts, those feelings, those memories, and the knowledge that comes with them is quelled for a moment, and you pretty much return to your self as Will here. What are you guys doing as you sit at the top of this town, looking out over the ocean and over the town itself? What do you guys want to do next?
I know the rest of you are probably bored out of your minds. Thanks for keeping me company while I came and visited these places.
I wouldn't
Not
say
bored.
any one of us were bored, really. Quite frankly, I'm a bit overwhelmed.
I'm not
That's
sure
the
what
word.
What's the word?
Overwhelmed. That fits.
You know, I'm not really sure what I expected to learn walking in there, but... Why do all these people have to speak in questions? Why can't they ever just give me a straight answer? I am not... My mind is not advanced enough for all of this philosophy and all these questions.
I don't think anyone's is. And if they told you it was, they'd be lying.
You know, for as much as I hated being forced to join the army, sometimes I miss the days where somebody else would just tell me who to swing a sword at. And that was life. And that was simple.
Same.
So,
I wasn't in the army, but that was my role. Just look where they pointed me.
it's a lot harder when we have to do all the decision making, isn't it?
Yeah. You're doing a very good job of it, for what it's worth. It's hard when you have 3 people in tow who are also impossibly inexperienced with this.
It'd be a lot harder alone.
And this is our journey. Not your journey. We're all here.
And that's for the best, because I'd have probably gotten lost by now. I can't even find the noble sector.
I was about to say, it's not like we've helped much with that either, so...
Well, don't be too hard on yourself now, Will. It's been some time since you've last been here.
That's true. It could be worse. Vix didn't even know what a pear was.
Oh, it could
I
have been
don't
a
think
lot
we have
worse.
them. We don't have them in the West.
You know, I may not have actually accomplished much here in Gerfreda, but I'm still glad I came. Lets me officially close the chapter of my life and be done with it. Nothing left to tie me here. I mentioned before, I had a strong father figure. Lyra really didn't. But that's exactly why I had to come here, because I can hear my father's voice echoing in my head, telling me, confront my problems head on, you don't run from them. So I had to come here and talk to him, even though I really didn't want to. But in doing so, I just realized how much better off I really was in so many ways than even the wealthiest of people. My dad might have just been a poor carpenter, but at the very least he prepared me for stuff like this. I guess in that sense, I'm lucky that it's me and not someone else. I'm not gonna crack under the pressure. I'm not.
It's not even an option.
Because we're not gonna let you.
I dare say you're the best man for the job.
I'm the best man for the job. Do you know how confusing it is having conflicting memories in my head?
No. But I can imagine. So,
And one of them's a borderline atheist, and the other's quite religious. So it's walking into that temple was quite fun. Jokes aside, though, are we ready?
Yeah, what is our plan?
Well, the way I see it, we have two options. We have to go investigate the tower. The answer to all of this nonsense is out there, and we need to get it. Get the answers, that is. And if we're ever going to see an end to this journey, we're going to have to go out there and see the truth for ourselves. The question is, Arias.
when do we deal with him? Because it's a matter of time, rather than if.
Well, we do have the option of setting sail from here. And potentially getting a lead on him, getting out there first. Although, we know that he can travel long distances in a very short time thanks to his magic. He might just move himself over there. Or we can run down to Gore's Point and talk to him. Which...
Yeah.
Granted, I have no real strong desire to talk to him, but who knows? Maybe he has answers.
Would
The thing
give
is,
us-
the thing is, he talks in questions too. Like a lot of these, like everybody involved in all of this, they all speak in circles and riddles and questions.
And I don't know
they
if you
never give-
noticed, but last time he was not quite sane sounding. Would the answers he has even be answers?
Also remains a possibility that if he's a threat that could be removed before we head out.
So do we just pay one of the silence and just get them to kill him now, while he's there?
You know, as capable as the Silence are, I worry that this might be slightly above their pay grade, and they might need us there.
I know I'm somewhat of a contrarian, but I think there's a possibility we don't that this is like the final journey. And I personally would like to hear what he has to say.
We should hear him out.
Yes,
I agree.
I agree.
We may never
don't
have
know.
that opportunity again.
Even if it's just circular nonsense again, maybe there'll be just some sort of clue we can pick up from him in his rambling.
Yeah.
Oh, and still need to kill him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do. Okay. So we go to
Was
Gore's Point and we meet
The
with him.
priestess. You think she was right? Me having my own definitions of right and wrong, arbiter of justice, taking matters into my own hands. You think she was right? Is it not my place?
Whose place is it? You go through life and you have to make so many decisions about all the people around you. The things they do to you, the people you love. Some small responsibility is on you.
It's true. I've spilled a lot of blood in the name of justice. I just want to make sure that's what it really is, you know?
Do you feel like it is?
I feel like it overlaps a lot with other things. Life for a life. Would you consider that justice?
I don't know if I'm
Fine.
exactly the person you want to ask about this, because
No, you're exactly the person I want to ask. Because you're like me. You're straightforward and simple. You get to the point. A life for a life.
I think I'm pretty complex and
Okay.
interesting
Listen.
and all,
Listen.
unique.
Listen. You can be as complex and interesting and unique as you want, but you're no philosopher.
I think if you feel like you did the right thing, then you did. Because it only matters to you. Just
Dear
like
God,
I
that's
feel.
terrible. I'm sorry I asked. That's a horrible philosophy.
I know.
Let's just go to Ghost Point.
There are a lot of things I think, I made the right choice, and you would be like, that was a bad choice. Not for me. Good thing I made it.
I feel like people like Arias and Mackin and these other people, they've marched halfway across this continent, just taking what they please. Mackin and his men have ransacked towns and killed people. Arias has ripped children from their families and ruined lives left and right. And they do it without a second thought because, at least in Arias' case, he thinks what he's doing is right. Pretty sure the Leon Viperium know what they're doing is wrong and they just don't care. But if you ask me, putting an end to them, is it justice? Yes. Yes, it is. I remain unconvinced otherwise.
Then it is.
And it happens to overlap with revenge too. So I guess it can be both. So let's go to Ghost Point. We'll hear out Arias. If it sounds like he intends to oppose us, I propose that we eliminate him there. And if he still has his henchmen with them, they're not leaving Ghost Point alive.
And that is where we're ending the session today. Thank you so much for playing, players, and watching, watchers. Good shit.
Oh my god, so much lore to take in today.
Well, kinda. Lots of questions. Question people.
Yeah.
Everyone's a question person.
I have something weird I'd like to bring up.
Is it the bow? You're gonna have a bow, okay?
No.
We'll get you a
No.
bow in the downtime.
No, it's not the bow. Will rolled like a million 19s today.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
the majority of his rolls were 19.
That's not
and
right.
the 19th tarot card in the deck is the sun. And I was like, when he rolled the last one, I was like, okay, I'm out. Oh God.
Yeah.
Spam the Illuminati emote.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. 19 is also like the power number in the Stephen King Dark Tower series, which years ago was one of the major influences on this setting.
Yeah.
So that's even weirder as well.
It's fine.
You are basically a quartet. No one
We're in the
gets it, but those
Matrix.
of you that
It's
get
fine.
it, enjoy it. Okay.
You know.
You guys killed it. Thanks so much for playing. We'll do a little round of shout outs here, and next week I guess it's off to see old Arias again down in Gauze Point. He said he would stay there until one day from now, so you're arriving just in time. A wizard arrives precisely when he needs to, says Merlin. But until then, we shall do a quick round of shout outs to find out who y'all are, where y'all are from, and what y'all are doing and we will start with the child himself. Merlin, you thought I was going to say, Will is Merlin, because everyone thinks he's a child every time they see him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Disby. I played Merlin for you today. You can catch me here every Thursday, and you could also find me streaming on Twitch, DisbyRx. I play variety and roleplay. Thanks for coming, everybody. Great episode as always. Thanks, gang.
Thanks, Disby. What about you, Leah?
I am a streamer on Twitch, and I stream video games at twitch.tv/Leah. Please don't ask what I stream because I don't know anymore. I'm losing my mind. Most of the times I log on and we just watch videos of things happening, and I lose absolutely the plot. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, I'll probably be doing some RP after this because Wild RP is a way of life.
You haven't done any RP yet today.
No.
What about you, Bree?
Hello. I hate that you said my name like that.
I
and
can't get
please
it right
never
either
do it
way,
again.
so now they're both
Yeah,
wrong,
I know.
right?
Both are bad now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brie like the cheese. You can find me. You can find me streaming like every day on Twitch. I just started playing Project Zomboid for the first time, like yesterday, and it's super. Somebody told me, and I can't remember who, but somebody kept telling me that I would love it, and I finally tried it, and I'm addicted. So I've been doing that, and then roleplay at night. So if you're interested in Project Zomboid or Red Dead roleplay, feel free to stop by.
Okay. I definitely will.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
What about you, Fairlight? I was trying to explain on my stream today. The moment I go, the thing is over, I can't. I'm not human anymore. It's crazy. Yeah. It's absolutely the most insane. Leah did a one-shot last week, and the first thing I feel like I asked you was like, do you have the post-DM brain thing? Because I love it when people DM for the first time, and you realize, like, you're like, oh, wow, that was crazy taxing on my brain. And, you know, I have a 7 IQ as it is, so I'm like, the whole time this is going.
It's bold of you to assume you're a human to start with.
Yeah, no,
I know.
Stretch.
I keep saying it.
I know. In the way that I'm not human, but like a gremlin. Fairlight is superhuman. Let's segue back to where he is and what he's doing.
Hi, I'm Jesse, aka Fairlight. You can find me over at twitch.tv/Fairlight_Excalibur, just like it says right there under my picture in the frame there. You can find me streaming basically every day right now, currently on a League of Legends binge because the new season just started, but that can change at the drop of a hat the second something else interesting comes out. Actually, I was thinking of trying out Project Zomboid again, so Bree, maybe we survive the apocalypse together soon. That could be fun.
Maybe, yes.
Is it multiplayer?
Did you know there's
that's the thing.
Did you know there's... Well, they just... so Zomboid actually had multiplayer, and then they removed it when they updated to a new version because they added a bunch of features, and then they had to get all that stable. But now they added multiplayer back in, so now it's like the new version with the multiplayer. There's even RP servers set up, so that could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll probably be doing that soon.
All right. There you go. Make sure you follow all of these people. Their links are all around. You should be able to find them either in the description if you're on YouTube, or in the chat if you're on Twitch, or Google it.
And don't forget to check out
go
Brad
follow
Wardle.
Brad. Since
Yeah, everybody follow Brad.
follow this guy.
I'm playing Bannerlord for the second time tomorrow, Mount and Blade 2. Which I'm looking forward to, and I had a lot of fun with it first time round, so it's the difficult second time playing a game where you're like, I hope it isn't lame or not as good or something, but we'll see. I'm starting that up tomorrow. I don't know if Rhyme is back tomorrow. I meant to ask. Do we know if Rhyme is back on? Otherwise, we'll be back here next week on Thursdays. We have Spellwind on Wednesdays, and at some point there is Rhyme is back tomorrow. Yes, Friday's Rhyme with the Frost Maiden here. And on Saturday, which is 2 days from now, we have the Final Gift, which is a Warhammer 40k show, which is a short run thing run by Sheepdog. And if you're interested in 40k, or you just want to get in on like an episode 1 of something, or just watch a short run of a table story show, then we'll see you on Saturday. That is the 8th, and it is at 4 Eastern that begins. Other than that, we'll see you next week. Thanks so much for watching. Join the Discord. Follow these people. Bye.
Bye.